Hello people, it's me. Now I'm back to do another album review. Today we are going to review what is a little known band that does have a small following, and they are one of Detroit's best kept secrets. A band that inspired me to get a female singer. You know, there was two albums they did that were quite groundbreaking in my opinion, and once I got really into them, I decided I wanted to get a female singer, and it helps me out. That means I don't have to play drums and sing everything, and trust me, that's very exhausting. And this band happens to be His Name Is Alive. Now, this band, I got into kind of by accident. A friend of mine had one of their CDs. Don't remember which one it was, but I remember he had one, so I ended up buying Livonia, which was their first album, and being blown away by the gothic, dark, foreboding sound. And then I got other albums, to follow. And then once they started doing these weird R&B albums with Someday My Blues Will Cover the Earth and Last Night, I'm thinking, wow, is this where they're going? And they're an R&B group now. So I pretty much gave up on them since they put out two really confusing albums. But then I had happened to hear, or actually what happened was I saw the video of Come To Me on YouTube. Really great video. You should check it out. And it's on YouTube. And I'm thinking, wow, that's actually pretty good. Wow, this is after the R&B stuff. Turns out they got a new singer named Andrea Morisi, who happens to be Karen Oliver's cousin. Now, this is a download-only album that you can get from their website. Well, there's a link to Silver Mountain Management that's on the website to get to this album. So I downloaded it because you couldn't get it. I don't know why they made it a download-only album. Apparently, a friend of mine and I were talking about, it was actually Robert from Crack in the Wall that was telling me about how he was thinking CDs and records are going to be obsolete, so maybe Warren DeFever has jumped on the bandwagon of making everything a music download. So if you want to hear the new His Name's Alive album, just go to hisnamesalive.com and download it. Therefore, since it's not a physical CD, I don't have the cover art to show you, because usually I will show the cover art up in front of the camera. But instead, I'll put this picture up here. This is a picture from Amazon of the cover art. Okay, that's enough of that picture. We can take that down. Let's not focus on the site anymore. Now it's time to focus on the sound. So here we go. This is the album, The Eclipse. Now, the album starts off with song number 1. Song number 1 is called Dixie. But Dixie's not too much. It's just this noodling guitar part that goes on for about 17 seconds. That's the intro to the album. And right after 17 seconds, in goes into the Prescriptions, which is this real kind of vocal operatic. The Prescriptions starts off as this operatic vocal with Andrea Morisi, and there's some organ playing in the background. And it's real kind of mellow song, real kind of droning a little bit. It goes into Prescriptions. And then right after the Prescriptions is Vanilla. And Vanilla opens with vocal patterns of a series of voices by Andrea Morisi. Sounds like it was could have fit on the first album, Livonia. Very kind of dark and kind of ethereal sounding. And then it goes into the music with Andrea singing. And there's some strings on this too. There's like a violin and I believe, a keyboard and maybe a bass. It's kind of, the way that it was recorded, it's kind of hard to tell what instrument's what on certain places of the album. That's Vanilla. And then number 4 comes off with the most upbeat song on the album, Dream Remember. Now, Dream Remember is actually a very different song. I'll just say right here that most of this album is actually a pretty slow album, and it just kind of has this kind of flow like this. But this is the most upbeat one, and I think the only one that has any drums. The song starts off with kind of a frantic drum beat. And then Warren DeFever goes into a Jimi Hendrix guitar frenzy. And there's actually a YouTube video when they were not previewing, but about to promote the new His Name's Alive album before it came out, a video of Andrea Morisi sitting at a restaurant table in black and white and strobed. Not slow motion, but strobed. And you can see this on YouTube. In fact, I put this as a video response to that video, and the fact that it's just Andrea Morisi the whole time is very good eye candy. You know, being as beautiful of a woman that Andrea Morisi is, I could watch her for 12 hours and listen to His Name Is Alive. Definitely the most beautiful female musician that I admire, and it's because of her is why I wanted a female singer. But like I said, this is actually one of the album's strongest songs, but it does feel a little out of place with the album because it's really upbeat and doesn't really, relate to any of the other songs. I do have one slight problem with this. There's a line in the song that goes, "It can't rain all the time," and I'm wondering if Warren DeFevre had blatantly ripped off The Crow. That was a line from The Crow in that, and what's the guy's name? Brandon Lee, his band. I haven't seen The Crow in forever, so I don't remember the character he played. But I remember that had that record skip in the scene, and it kept saying, "It can't rain all the time." So I'm wondering if Warren DeFevre completely ripped off The Crow, and if he did, he loses points for that. As far as the song goes, it's a good song. It's one of the standout tracks on this one. Saint Michael is one that's starts off with this kind of percussive electronic part, and it's kind of this echoey part, and then Andrea starts singing, and it's got the chorus of her singing with herself, like she's singing in the chorus with herself. Saint Michael. This is a nice, smooth, relaxing song. I really like this one. And then after that, it goes to Bleeder Poem. And Bleeder Poem picks up where Dixie left off. It's the same guitar noodling that goes on, and eventually you hear a chorus, a big choir of Andrea Morisi just singing. Not actual words, but she's just using her voice as a musical instrument. There's no lyrics in this at all. And actually, there's certain songs on this where I feel that she's a little unintelligible, and I wish I could understand her more. But to me, Bleeder Poem is an intermission on this album. It sounds just kind of just subtle. It's just the noodling guitar and her vocals, a choir with herself, just kind of spot on right there. And then it goes to Darker Than Blue. Darker Than Blue opens up with a sound effect that sounds like an air conditioner. And then you hear a guitar strum. And then Andrea starts singing. It's a real slow, very kind of somber song. This one's okay. This is not one of the strongest songs on the album. This one I find a little bland, actually. And after that, we get to Tell Me Why You Want to See Me. This one's pretty cool. It opens up with a piano, which sounds very oriental. I could just picture this Chinese hut and these two geisha women coming out, doing a little dance. Warren DeFevre must have some oriental musical influences. Feels Like Infinity is a really nice one. This is another one of the standout songs on the album, where there's piano and Andrea singing Feels Like Infinity, and there's a nice chorus. This is actually another one of the good ones on here, and probably my first or second favorite. Hard to pick what my very favorite on this one is, but that's good. And then we come to song number 10, which is Eye of the Tiger. Just kidding. Dream Tiger. Dream Tiger is weird, not to be too surprising, since Warren DeFevre is a pretty strange individual when it comes to music. A genius, but strange individual. Dream Tiger starts off with this long droning noise of an organ, I guess, or some electronic device. And then Andrea comes in with her vocals, and she sounds like she's singing underwater. Makes for an interesting effect, I guess. But the song is a little iffy on my side. This isn't one of the greatest songs. Or standout songs, I should say. It's alright, though. And there's one other song on here. There's the title track, The Eclipse. For some reason, that wouldn't fit on the CD when I burned this on a CD. It was a huge file for some reason, but it wasn't that long of a song from what I had heard. It's really just an ambient keyboard noise part. Not much to it. I mean, the album started off with like a little kind of noodling guitar part as an intro. The Eclipse is just an outro. It's very short. Can't remember how short. I don't have it on the CD, but I've heard it. It's okay. So, how does this album measure up? Is this on par with the two groundbreaking albums, Detrilla and Zimmer? Well, not quite. I wouldn't quite say this is as good as those two, or even as good as Livonia. This album, the flow is pretty much just a kind of a line, with the bump in the road being Dream Remember. That being the only upbeat song, and the only one I think with any real percussion in. That sounds kind of more like it would be on Zimmer or Detrilla. This one sounds a little bland in places. Well, I won't say this album is quite as good as Detrilla and Zimmer. I say it's a step down from those. So this is the follow-up to Zimmer. Not a bad album. It's an okay album. Just not quite on par with Detrilla and Zimmer. To grade this album, I would probably give it a B at best. I'd say that The Eclipse gets a B. If you haven't heard The Eclipse yet, but were a big fan of Detrilla and Zimmer, I say go ahead and get it. If you're new to His Name Is Alive, don't start here. It doesn't matter which one you get first, Detrilla or Zimmer. Get any one of those first. And then I would get Livonia, and then maybe get this. This is my album review for The Eclipse by His Name Is Alive.